Hello dear friends, I'm glad to welcome everyone watching Sotnik-TV this moment. It's June 22nd, 2019. Thank you for watching our channel. Let me begin with addressing potential advertisers. I realize it's summer and many went on vacations. Nevertheless, we have our commercial department. Please contact us at prsotnik.tv@gmail.com. You'll receive a response. Let's make friends as our efficiency is very high. Our channel is growing similar to Bitcoin. Yet unlike Bitcoin, we never drop. We're now volatile and keep growing. We have 421,000 subscribers, just like that. We were celebrating 400,000 just a little while ago, and now it's already 421,000, which is not because but despite of YouTube removing the subscriptions, freezing the views, removing the monetization. Speaking of which, I would like to thank to our subscribers, to our beloved viewers, supporting us with their finances, not letting the whole thing die. It would be a great present for Putin regime to have Sotnik-TV closed or shrunk to a couple of videos per week. They would love that, but you don't let that happen. Your support means that we are doing the right thing, moving in the right direction. So it's June 22nd, the day in history when Soviet Union under Stalin stopped being Hitler's ally. It wasn't their decision. Stalin could have remained Hitler's friend, changing the borders together, yet Hitler's Barbarossa plan implementation started. We all remember what it led to. Yet I feel sorry to see the fascist propaganda still alive and, unfortunately, namely in Russia. They offer to repeat something with some new variations. I'd like to remind that the death certainly has lots of variations. Yet the point is always the same. A life ends due to the death. The life is no more. And I would urge all those supporting Putin, wishing to repeat, to shut up and to be quiet this day. Shut up and be quiet. Unfortunately, they won't be quiet as their fascist leader Putin keeps on talking. I guess everything has already been said about Putin's People Conference. I wasted 4 hours of life listening to that toxic liar. Ask my relatives, after those 4 hours watching Putin, I looked a bit green. That's probably because I react to any lie painfully. And that was the lie on the government level. I dove into it as into some poisonous concentrate. So keep healthy, my friends, and don't you listen to Putin, to all his straight and crooked lines. It was my professional duty, otherwise I would never do it myself. Here's the main conclusion regarding that so-called straight line. Do you remember several weeks ago during one of my streams, I noticed the rumors of Putin not being real. And it doesn't really matter whether he is the original one or those are his twins. We registered the moment as the beginning of his rating end. And after that, surveys were conducted by Russian Public Opinion Research Center and Levada Center, showing his rating indeed getting lower, vanishing rapidly. So these rumors were nothing but a mental breakup with the chief, asking what a bold freak is in charge. Who is he? Where did he come from? Is he real or not? By what right? Andrei Piantkovsky was right yesterday, saying that the myth of Putin is dead. His rating decreased terribly. What numbers have they announced recently? Has it been 32%? Let's not get fooled by those renewed ratings based on the new instructions. Those are ridiculous. Magic doesn't exist. See the number of dislikes under the stream in YouTube. Some like 192,000 and so on. So we need to divide those 32% by 6, which is their favorite number, and I didn't make it up, and have around 5%. The rating before that People conference was fluctuating near statistical error zone, and I'm not sure that after that conference the miserable rating of his didn't drop into the statistical error zone.
Его несчастный рейтинг не скатился в саму зону статистической погрешности. То есть,
which means around 3%, which is certainly bad news for Putin personally. On June 20th, we saw how tired he was. That was something noticeable. He was sick and tired. He didn't even want those peasants to like him. He was bored. It was terribly boring. Nothing would captivate him. There was no sparkle in eyes, but apathy and weakness. He still has anger swashing inside, due to him not willing to ever give up the power. And that was decided. But now he would need a great effort to resist those peasants, who wish him resign more and more. They wish him change something, but resignation would be better. So he will need to come up with new plans to explode someone again, to escalate, to catch, to fabricate prosecutions, to spread tones of lies, to arrest, to shoot, and to conduct lots of special operations abroad. What he is really dreaming of is to do nothing, to close the country, to shut everyone inside it, and to have others treat him as a reincarnation of Ivan the Terrible, half mixed with Stalin, so that he meets notional church and Roosevelt in Yalta, as Stalin did, so that everyone stared at his teeth, calling him the great generalissimo, having all the problems gone, so that the population praises him or keeps quiet at least. But it doesn't work like that. It's the 21st century, full of technologies. So he's forced to conduct new special operations, lying, live, making things as mendacious as possible. And knowing that Putin haven't said a word about Shi's, we may assume that the protesters there will be dispelled demonstratively within the next few days. They will detain the most active ones and file criminal charges against them. They know how to fabricate. The Russian North will be polluted as decided. Moving forward. Putin didn't threaten the US during the conference. He's probably hoping to meet Trump in Osaka during the G20 meeting and to receive some easing from the United States. Yet it's for nothing. As Kremlin is about to get new sanctions soon. Those won't even be for Crimea, but for Jehovah's Witnesses manhunt. There's another thing I would like to address you with, my dear viewers. Let me point out that we guarantee anonymity for those willing to help us. There's a thing that scares Kremlin as hell. I'm talking about the persecution and manhunt of gays. For several years, there have been private communities in Vkontakte social network offering rewards for beating and assaulting gays. These rewards are being paid out. They post the pictures and addresses of the potential victims, all their names and personal data, such as phone numbers and email addresses. There were lots of cases of gays beaten up and even murdered, followed by the executors being rewarded with money. I know that high-ranking officials and their relatives stand behind this gay hunting game. It goes way up to the very top, almost to Putin's circle. I also know that Russian LGBT society deliberately refuses the fact of gay hunting exists, as they're sponsored by Mr. Volodin himself. As far as I know, Russian LGBT is allowed to play some political games, to stay close to Yabloko party. Yet there are some rules. They can play here and there they can't. We'll press you here and there, don't you dare to scream. One of the rules is to deny that gays in Russia are being hunted. And this hunt goes outside Russian borders, as far as I know. So they need to deny the gays in Russia being hunted as some beasts. Once it's revealed and proven at the international level, Russia may expect very serious sanctions. So I address those in manhunt lists knowing this, those already heard. Please contact our office. Give an interview to me personally, under my own responsibility. I guarantee to fulfill all the requirements of yours. We can change your voice and hide your face if needed. We want to conduct a journalistic investigation upon this topic. Personally, I guarantee you stay anonymous. If needed, we will try to help you contact some Western organizations. Please don't be afraid. You might have your life saved by doing this. Here's one more thing. The homosexual topic in Russia seems to be inflated by latent homosexuals. I would even say perverts. Not the homosexuals, but the perverts. You see, knowing that Russia is actually a brick, with the quarter of male population being in prison, where homosexual contacts are being practiced. This issue is understood to be taboo and considered some sort of impropriety. Russia is the country of slaves and prudes. There are tons of homosexuals in Russian parliament, you know, such as Zhirinovsky, Alexander Hinstein, and Volodin are gay. Russia is the country of rapists and their victims. That's the only way of existence of the empire, suffering the pain inside its phantom peg legs. The gay hunting is a kind of a topic revealing which, by independent journalists, is simply necessary. I've addressed you, hoping that you care and will help me to get into this issue and to reveal it as wide as possible. Let's return to the results of the Chiefs' conference. The thing is that not the format itself came to an end, which was told by many. It was Putin who came to an end as a simulation. As a hologram of himself, he is no longer interesting. That was a total failure. He is hanging on to some projections of this vertical, which turns into sheer cliffs he is mounted on. But everything is falling. Once he touches it, it breaks. And the whole thing is so close to collapse. That was the reason of what happened next. Within several hours after the pathetic conference, Putin required an external provocation, and Kremlin set it up. Kremlin's hysteria about the events in Tbilisi is sure the part of the plan to escalate tension on the territory of former Soviet Union, that Kremlin still considers its property. The imperial peg legs hurt, you see? Those hurt so bad. Punishing Georgians for throwing Putin's things, which Gavrilov is out. By disrupting the tourist season? According to Georgia Statistics Service, in 2018, the amount of foreign investments exceeded $1.2 billion. And only $60 million of which came from Russia. There will be less tourists from Russia for sure, twice less, or 3 or 4 or even 5 times less. The rest will travel through Minsk or through Yerevan maybe. It's not as comfortable, but they can do nothing about it once there is this insane creep in Kremlin making up some crazy laws. I was forced to move to Georgia in 2016. I lived there for 3 months and haven't noticed any Russophobia or any hate. Quite the opposite. They welcomed me as a relative there, being warm and generous. And now Roman Pereverzev, well known to you, is staying in Tbilisi. And when his motherland says, "Roman, get back here, it's dangerous over there," he quotes Faina Ranevskaya, saying to the motherland, "Go to hell, pioneers." He feels well over there. There's no aggression. There's no hysterical greatness. There's no yelling that everyone is trying to capture us, even though the latent war is on. And a part of Georgian territory remains under Putin's Russia separated. There are no insane imperial freaks, and the food is normal there, by the way. They don't destroy it with dozers at the command of some office psychos. Sane people live and let others live. Here's another important thing. Georgia is one of the former Soviet countries mentally close to Russians. It was possible to travel there visa-free from Russia. The only mentally close country remaining is Belarus. And there are some preparations as of Belarus going on as well. It feels like all these back doors to escape through in case of something are being closed by Kremlin in a hurry. What Kremlin really needs today are several directions to start aggressive military movement if something happens. Georgia is a direction with the simmering conflict that can be turned into a real war any time now. Ukraine is one of such directions, in particular Donbass. If something happens, Kremlin can easily escalate a conflict in Karabakh. By the way, that's the game changer of it, don't you forget. It goes to Azerbaijan and Armenia. Stay sharp. And another direction has been developed for quite a long time, which is Belarus. If Lukashenko doesn't accept the risky game of integrating with Russia, establishing unified currency, unified parliament, and state union, things may happen. I don't even exclude Lukashenko physically eliminated. followed by some freaky protege asking something like, "Putin, please send your troops or we'll have NATO soldiers here tomorrow." I wouldn't put it past. The military treatment, along with the diplomatic shelling of several outside directions, are vitally necessary for Putin at the moment. He urgently needs to switch the population's attention from the growing inner problems to an external enemy. And several enemies are even better. To spread the attention. Putin needs a war with neighbors at their territory. A war is Putin's salvation, his own way out. It's hard to tell now how loyal Putin's circle is to him. But they say that everyone is scared of him as hell. He is believed to be a psycho, throwing chairs if he doesn't like anything. Totally insane guy. There's also another information that Shoigu gone crazy, considering himself Genghis Khan reincarnation being serious. Nobody knows what kind of mental disorder he might have. They all consider themselves some reincarnations. Putin is the one the terrible, reborn. And Shoigu appears to be Genghis Khan. They come to Putin saying, "Father King, let us move the capital away from Moscow. Let's say to Tver. To Tver. It's located between Moscow and St. Petersburg, which makes it easy to travel. There's also a good environment. It's not that polluted, which is good for the health. We'll develop the infrastructure." And Ivan the Terrible was thinking of moving the capital as well, you know? So you see those insane idiots in Kremlin thinking with some other categories, with some cosmic and intergalactic terms, floating in astral plane, talking there with the spirits of Genghis Khans and Rurikoviches. They bow and hit the icons every morning and every night. They do cocaine and do have time to repent, as well as the time to kill. They have time to straighten the crooked lines. One thing not prevents the other. It all fits inside their skulls in an organic way. So Kremlin and Putin have a single goal for now. The population is out of funds. The money is gone. There's no more. China sneaks from east. The West is getting ready for its borders defense. Everyone hates and gets tensed. Poland is tensed. No one believes Kremlin, as this is the reputation it basically deserves. The protests grow in the regions. Kremlin was throwing time bombs for a long time, wasn't it? The bombs were ticking for all that years. And now the time is up. It's time to explode. So those will explode. He didn't manage to seize the initiative during that conference. It was weak and not interesting, and it would be better not to have it at all, based on the results and the amount of dislikes. So the attention needs to be urgently moved to some other issues. There is a discussion of Ukraine 24/7, but it's not enough. Here's some more. Georgia is a new dose for you. Yet even this doesn't do. Something else is needed. He needs to increase the dose. He needs to concentrate the solution of fear, hate and aggression. So I assume the issue of Belarus can get relevant any day from now. Let me tell you that I don't believe in people's uprising in Moscow. The system of slavery is built excellently. Moscow is full of expendable material, ready to work hard and to grovel. Those are the slaves of post-Soviet generation who came from their province to that shining capital. They got jobs there, looking for their place in the sun and ready to fight for that place, receiving pennies, to work all day long, kissing their bosses' butts for that Moscow share. They are ready. They are the perfect expendable material made of beggars. There are plenty of those. There are dozens of millions, my friends. Lots of them. They may not be satisfied, but they will never speak out loud and join the protest. And if a skirmish starts in regions, it will be suppressed by those well-fed migrant workers, who are also slaves, yet wearing uniforms armed with sticks. Zolotov and Putin have still been paying. They have funds to sponsor that brutalized canal. They will shoot if ordered. They will drown in blood. I would rather believe in wars between authorities and the coming war of extermination between Kremlin clans and so-called Kremlin towers. During this war of extermination, some confusion may occur. When notional Chemizov starts throwing heavy objects to notional Sechin, and throwing those accidentally hits the Lord with some ashtray, not wishing so at all. That's when the rumble begins. Whoever has more money will lead more expendable material, as the people are ready to filth. The people are filthy, and there won't be no uprising in Moscow, but a war of fascists against bullies. Whoever wins keeps their lives and takes the power. As Putin won't need no power with his skull struck. Thank you so very much. Please press like buttons and lead this video to the top if you like it. As always, I thank you for supporting our channel. Don't forget the payment details we put under each of our videos. Please support our crew as the things are getting heavy. Thank you very much. Please forgive if I was no comforting for you. At least I wasn't lying during this hour. Take care of yourselves, of your close ones. Take care of your hearts and souls.